Hey guys, Jessica Pesola here, and I am so excited to get to talk to the home team, as I call it, today. DFG, you guys rock. I'm so thankful for you guys and for your amazing leader, who I look up to so much, Miss Lindsay. And so I just really always look at it as a privilege to be able to share with you guys stuff that I'm learning, stuff that's on my heart. And today and this entire season has truly been about building trust for me and really learning and teaching how to really coach right. Okay, so I'm going to be screen sharing and really sharing with you guys some slides. A lot of them are actually from leadership that I took along with me that I have really dived into, that have really helped me. And yeah, so I'm just going to dive in. I'm going to share all of that kind of stuff with you. If you guys are a brand new coach, I'm going to very briefly share my story with you so that you guys know who I am a little bit. My name is Jess. I basically got into the 21-day fix and Shakeology after gaining a lot of weight with my son. I won't go into too many details about that, but I got to hear Lindsay speak at a Super Saturday after I was a customer that had lost about 20 pounds. And I remember hearing her speak, and it was just so incredible the way God works and the way that he just really used her to show me that, you know, what could happen in this business. And I was scared to make a change. I think we all are, right? When we first start, I mean, come on, it's scary, right? It's scary to do something different. And I was terrified that my friends would all think I would want something from them or something crazy. So I chose to go into this business really leading with my transformation and went on to lose 56 pounds. I worked at a church at the time. I really felt like God was calling me to make my family my #1 ministry. And that was really hard for me to understand, to feel like I was kind of being called out of the church. But I realized when I heard Lindsay speak at the Super Saturday that this can be a ministry. This absolutely could be a ministry too. And so I had a list of people that were really interested because they had watched me. I had a very large market. I had people that were watching me from be on a stage, lead worship. I was the director of connections, and they saw me gain a bunch of weight with my son, and then they saw me lose a lot of weight. And so, like I said, it was a large church. I had a lot of connections, and I really utilized that. I've actually signed up coaches that have a huge market, but they don't utilize it. And it's so important that you know that you actually don't just depend on your connections, but you invite, you invest, you continue to build trust, and you show people that you care. So quickly. I was kind of like a sprinter coach, I guess you would say. I went diamond in like 24 days, and then in 6 months I was a 2-star. In 7 months or something like that, 8-9 months I was 7-star. In a little over a year I was 10-star, and then in 23 months I became a 15-star diamond. And guys, it was a an elite 15-star. It's such an honor. I feel called to it. I feel like I did exactly what I would needed to do, that I felt like I prayed a lot over the way that I did it. I prayed a lot over my team, and I do feel called to have done that. But there was lots of ups and downs. As a fast grower, I experienced a lot of great things. I also experienced a lot of heartache, a lot of hurt. There's been lots of tears over this business, but the good has always outweighed the bad. And through learning a lot, I have learned that the part that I am most in love with, because you have to be in love with what you do, and the part that I'm most in love with this business is the connections with people and loving people. And sometimes I've had to bring myself back to that, because there's been moments where I have maybe lost my vision in that. And I always told myself I didn't want this to ever become an idol, because that would totally take away and defeat the purpose of why I started this in the first place. And so there's absolutely been moments where I think that's gotten a hold of me, and I've had to get back to my original vision of this being a ministry and really pouring into people. And so that's really why I want to share my heart with you about coaching right and doing this right and just loving on people and meeting them where they're at and giving them your all. And that's what we're called to do, whether we get anything out of it or not. And so I'm going to share with you. I'm going to go ahead and screen share here. And hopefully this will all just go great. I'm forgetting how to do this. Let's see, guys. Yes, present to everybody. Well, that just looks crazy, doesn't it? Okay, let's stop the screen share. Oh. Okay. Sorry, guys. Thanks for being patient with me as I figure this out. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead, pull this up. So this is the slide that I want to share. So let me make sure that I do that right. Okay. Share. And let's present to everyone. And do you guys see my screen? If one of you guys are messaging me, oh, close YouTube. Thanks, Linz. Okay, I think that's working. Okay, Lindsay, let me know if I screwed that up somehow. But I think you guys can see my screen now. So these are some slides from leadership that I want to share with you guys that really, really spoke to me, and I'm going to actually enlarge it a little bit. I know that it's going to be a little muffled. Yay, good. I know it's going to be a little bit muffled on your side, so I'm going to read them out to you. But this, like, spoke right to my heart. It's about the growth zone and the caution zone. And then I'm going to dive into some real examples of that trust building. But awesome. So, you know, you start out as a new coach, you kind of get the 4 vital behaviors down. You're positive, you're excited, you see some growth, initial growth. You know, your results exceed the expectations, and then you're an emerging leader and you celebrate success. And then you really have an opportunity to either remain engaged and continue that growth, or what we can see happen sometimes is people get to, like, I'll just put a status on it. They get to like a diamond rank or something like that, and they start to embrace that. And they start to become less focused. And then they get into management mode where they're just trying to manage their diamond to maintain rank, but they're not really thinking about growing. And then the vital behaviors kind of lose its vitality, the attitude changes, and then there's a moment of truth, and they get to decide whether they are going to stick around or they are going to walk away. And this is where we see coaches quit. This is where we see coaches either start climbing back up the growth zone. That's always our hope. But I think that at some point, I've been in this category and I've been in this category, okay? And I think as coaches, when we talk about that roller coaster, it can happen to all of us. We are human, we are normal. You know, there's not always just seasons of complete excitement, right? And so, well, I think especially as a leader, if you start to see some of your coaches fall off, it can get really, really difficult. So I want to show you the best part to me, again, about this business and how we can stay on this path to success. And it's really about celebrating every success by really connecting with the people, in my opinion, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and show you. You have 10 seconds to make a great first impression. I just love this because actually I believe that you have 7 seconds to make a great first impression. I learned that in church ministry, that the minute somebody drives into your parking lot, you have 7 seconds to make a first impression. And so whether you are messaging people, you are talking to them face to face or on the phone, like, I know it sounds silly, but like, absolutely have that energy and bring a smile to the table, because people can see right through it if you do not love what you do. You know, schedule a time that works for people if you're trying to connect with them one-on-one, which you should be. I'll get into that. And then voice message. You guys, Facebook, if you are not taking advantage of voice memos or voice messaging, it is seriously changing my business. It is amazing. They can hear my energy. They can hear how much I care about them. I've had people in that voice messaging, like become a part of my team or get a challenge pack because they can hear how much I care about them. So here are some questions for you as you're building trust with people, and I'll even enlarge it a little bit so that it's easier for you guys to see. But I think it's so important for us to ask the right questions. I personally, I know I've talked about this before, but when I am connecting with people for the first time, I use an equation that Joelle Cease taught me, and another elite coach, and she taught me comment plus compliment plus question equals conversation. So when I do that, I'm learning about their children. I'm learning about something that can be like not even that deep, but it can just be something fun about them. It has nothing really to do about health and fitness at the moment, but it's because of those starter conversations that we really get in to these kind of questions that build the trust in you being their coach. Okay, so it's so important for us to have people know, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I learned how to potty train my child by just reaching out to people and building a relationship with them. So again, comment plus compliment plus question equals conversation. So I might have said something like, hey, Olivia, I see that you have, I might say, like, if it's from high school, like, hey, Olivia, it's been such a long time since I was at a high school. You look like you're doing amazing, girl. Your little girl is adorable. I think her name is Kenley, I saw. Oh my gosh, she is gorgeous. I see that she looks about the age of a toddler. Have you guys started potty training at all? Do you have any tips for me? Girl, it's interesting, and just connecting with them on that. And honestly, guys, it was genuine conversations, whether they ended up ever, joining one of my groups or buying a challenge pack or whatnot. I literally learned how to potty train my son from getting tips like that and talking with people and then adding value with them and receiving value in return. And it was really positive. But once you get into these, when you can actually, then when you start to invite them, when you go back and you invite, you can ask them the questions that really matter, or the right questions, I guess I should say, that show that you care. Can you tell me a little bit more about your health and fitness goals? Why did you decide to reach out if they reached out to you? Have you tried to lose this weight before? What did you try? Have you tried to gain muscle before? I mean, really digging deep to not just sell the 21-day fix every time, or not just sell, and I don't even like the word sell, but it is kind of what we do in a sense. But, making sure that we are asking the right questions to truly help them with what they're looking for. If somebody doesn't want to lose a lot of weight, but they really want to build muscle, maybe we're going to talk more about Body Beast and building that versus like the 21-day fix, So there's lots of different options. And even with Core to Force, looking at people that love that kickboxing MMA style versus something that is more lifting weights, just understanding where they're at, also asking them what their short-term goals, what their long-term goals are. What does your daily routine look like? Are you fairly active? Do you drink a lot of coffee? Do you get a lot of energy throughout the day? All of these kinds of things. Are you on your feet? Do you go to a gym? You actually mentioned that you've tried Beachbody before or even another program before. Why do you think that it didn't get you results? Why do you think it didn't work? That kind of thing. So I love just really digging into, and obviously you're not going to interview them with bombarding them with a million questions at one time or anything like that. This is through a conversation where you're showing that you care and you're building trust. And then it's so important, you guys, to listen to them. Listen to what they tell you that they want. Paint the picture of how their life could be. Minimize objections by providing the details within your story. If somebody is telling me that they are a single mom and life is hard, but they've got to get their weight under control, in my story that I share with them about how I got started, I'm going to talk about how my husband and I actually saved money by doing this and with Shakeology, because it's a meal replacement. And I figured out that even just, unfortunately, if you ever get fast food, it's like $5 for a Happy Meal, where Shakeology is $4 or under a day. And it gives you all those vitamins. It's just amazing how I could talk about how I was in Financial Peace University. I never thought this could work. But what was amazing is that it is a meal replacement, and so we could add it into our grocery budget, and we actually ended up saving money as a customer. You know, sharing that I think is so important. Same with, you're going to see a real life example that I'm going to show you in a minute, where I actually hear the girl, she's talking about how she has health issues with cholesterol. Well, my cholesterol went down when I started drinking Shakeology. So even though I wouldn't normally put that in my story, I'm going to share that. Okay, like I'm going to talk about how my cholesterol went down because I'm listening to her. I'm minimizing the objections as I talk through how this worked for me and why it could work for her. So another thing that I love that I have been doing a ton more of, I've been doing discovery calls, as we call them, and I know this is hard to see, but what you can see is that doing bi-weekly calls with people, or even getting on the phone with people to help them decide not only a program, but to talk through their goals, and then to get on the phone with them, or even if not everybody's going to want to get on the phone with you guys, right? Like I have a lot of cold market that does not want to get on the phone with me. That's okay. I can do those voice memos, but I can go back and forth, and 78% of people are more likely to succeed and stick with it and get results if you are actually getting on the phone with them, which is super positive. So I know that that's scary. I remember the first time I was ever talking to a customer on the phone. It was one of my first people that I ever signed up, and I remember shaking because I was so scared, but I was fearless in my actions. So even though there may be fear in trying something new or starting something different, like this might scare you, know that it's going to take a moment before you're going to feel comfortable. But that's okay, because successful people get uncomfortable, and you know that it's it's all about being fearless in your actions and knowing that what you're doing by getting uncomfortable is really better for them, and it's really about them, not you, right? So it's about a mindset change. So when you do get on the phone with them, I like to share my story. Pause every 20 to 30 seconds, allow them to ask questions, and ask questions while you're talking to them. Talk with them about Shakeology, how it's benefited you, what your favorite flavor is. Talk about your favorite workout program, the challenge group experience. I always talk about how anybody can do a weight loss program. You know, anybody can join a gym, or they can do a program, but if they do not have accountability like we do in our challenge groups and provide support in our challenge groups, it is so much more likely that they're going to fall off the train. And I tell them that that is what kept me going, was running my own groups, being in my groups, keeping other people accountable while I was held accountable. Huge game changer. I explain the process, explain the cost, explain the order, what happens after they hit order. I always send everybody an email right away explaining, whether they signed up as a coach or a customer. I explain exactly what it's going to look like for monthly HD, that they're going to get an email from Beachbody as well, and that kind of thing. But I do tell them to put this date in their calendar 5 days before this date for next month to talk through it if we need to do any modifications for their flavor, that kind of thing. And just really tell them how your life changed and how great you feel now. That's the biggest thing, is that a lot of people are looking for hope. I have people that message me in January that are always asking or telling me they're looking in front of the mirror, they are in a dressing room, their pants don't fit anymore. They don't know how they gained 10 pounds over the holidays because they didn't think that they took that many bites of cheesecake, but they did. And now they don't know what to do, but they remember that I had reached out. They've seen my posting, they've seen it, and I can tell them that I've been that girl where all of a sudden I looked in the mirror one day and I had gained 50 pounds. And it was a slow thing that happened, but it was like one day I just looked in the mirror and I went, wow, like this has to get under control. And I can feel that with them, and I can explain that I've been there, and I can connect with them on a trust level that is so different now that they know that I'm just not somebody that's been in shape my whole life, because that's my story. And so I can really relate to them, and that is so important. Okay, this one's a little foggy, but provide the solution. Always, always, always end with a question. Okay, guys? So, okay, you told me you want to lose 20 pounds. I know now that you like cardio. I know that you like a little bit of weightlifting. I think this 21-day fix is going to be such a great program for you. It has an amazing meal plan. If I sent you a little promo on it, like a little video, would you watch it? Would that work for you to check it out? That kind of stuff. If I could provide you with this, do you think it's something that you could stick with right now? That kind of thing. Can you message me when you've completed your order? I want to make sure, you know, I like to get on the phone with people, but sometimes that doesn't work with cold market. So if I give them the link, I always let them know that the link can expire. Guys, it's happened to me. It's expired for me with people before. So I let them know that I'd really love for them to fill it out, you know, tonight or within 24 hours because the link can expire, and then to message me when it does. So that way I can make sure that nothing, you know, that everything is good from my end and that everything looks okay. And then that also kind of gives them a deadline, which is really nice too. And then the final questions, you know, turn their wish into a goal. You mentioned you wanted to lose 20 pounds. Is there a reason? You know, sometimes people are a bridesmaid in a wedding and they didn't even say that. So just, you know, that way when somebody stops showing up, when they stop showing up in the group and you message them and you show that you care, you can say, hey girl, I want to help you get into this dress. I want to help you feel good and confident. All of that kind of stuff, you know, is now the best time to start. You know, why is this important to you? Asking them those final questions so that you really dig into their why as a challenger. And obviously you can do that in your challenge groups too. I know my challenge groups, we do a lot of that. We do a lot of talking about our goals, why this is important. But at the end of the day, you really want to do that one-on-one with them as well. And I think it's really all about a mindset. You know, I think that no matter what pace you are going at, we need to remember that people are not just points or a rank. People are lives to serve. It's not just about me, it's about we. It's about, yes, it's not just about me, it's about we. Okay, good, I said that right. So you're really thinking about them. You know, I think that it's so important to really meet people's needs where they're at. Yes, it's good for you to have goals. I will never tell you that it's not good for you to have goals. Absolutely have goals. I mean, I am one of the most goal-driven people that I've ever met, you know, that I know. And I'm okay with that as long as I don't lose this focus. So it's okay to set goals. It's okay to set deadlines for yourself. And I will be the first person to tell you that I have missed more goal deadlines than I have actually made. Even with this journey and how crazy it's gone, I have missed goals. I wanted to be a 15-star diamond September in 2015. That was my goal, and I hit it in June 2016. I don't feel bad about that. I mean, it was great, but it's okay to have those goals and also to understand that if they don't happen, it's also about the transformational. It's about your coaches' lives. It's about their goals, not necessarily only your goals, right? And so I think that's so important for us to remember. I know that in trainings we have done and everything, it's all about like pushing, pushing, pushing and believing 100%. I believe that. But at the end of the day, you'd never want to sacrifice team culture for something that just gets you to a certain spot. It's about your team overall. And that's something that I've been learning even more about this year, which is a really great thing. So the bottom line is, you know, focus on being a, you know, either focusing on being a top producer or focus on serving, loving, and transforming lives. I think that's really, really positive, which is going to bring me to an example I'm going to show you. I love doing longer free groups once a quarter. Everybody does these differently. For me, I like doing longer ones once a quarter. I usually sign up about 10 coaches, business coaches, by the end of the challenge, of the free challenge, because I have built those relationships and that trust. So that is usually how what works really well for me. And I keep the same group. So as you read this message up here, it might sound confusing, but I keep everybody in the same group and I just add to it and keep it a revolving door. So when I start a new one every quarter, I message the people in it and say, hey, hey Dawn, I don't know if you saw the free 21-day crockpot and fit challenge I'm doing. You're already in the group. I just kind of remind them that this is an ongoing free group, but I'd love for you to be a part of it. We just started preseason and we'll go in full force starting Monday. Does that sound fun to you? This is a way for me to kind of get my groups on the board with them, but it's also a way for me like to kind of see where they're at. And this lady just messaged me back, and she just goes into like, I'm so glad you messaged me personally. I'm not at a good place right now. You know, she basically tells me about how she was doing a 5 a.m. boot camp. The class was the same. It was, you know, repeating the same moves, and after about 6 months, she plateaued. And she basically goes on to tell me that she's ended up, through a lot of stress and flooding, she ended up completely falling off the wagon and gained back everything she had worked for in the first part. I'm just down on myself. I lost every ounce of motivation I had, so I definitely would like to give this challenge a try. Okay, so I have built previous trust with her in other groups, but when I come back and I do this, I'm going to match her energy. So if somebody just writes me back and they're like, yeah, that sounds super fun, really cool, I can't wait for it, I'm going to talk to them then about like, more about like, okay, awesome, so what are your goals for this season right now? Like, what are your goals? Okay, great. What are your long-term goals? What do you know, because I always do fit challenges within my groups. And then we'll talk, you know, more on that level and dig a little bit deeper that way. But she went right into opening up her heart, and so I'm going to match that energy, and I'm going to open up my heart back. So I go back into connecting with her, building that trust even further. Dawn, I'm so sorry you're going through so much. I've totally been there. Last winter, I had multiple deaths and sickness in our family, and I struggled with a binge eating disorder. It was so hard, especially as a coach, to gain weight while I was actually helping others lose it. I get it. I have a heart for this, and would love to truly coach you further. Would you ever consider trying my more structured challenge group with a challenge pack where you receive an easy to follow but in-depth eating guide, clinically proven Shakeology and workouts? And I talk about how I have one on promo that has helped me lose 56 pounds. Now, again, I have already previously built trust with her, but I match her energy and I make sure that I offer her something deeper. And I don't feel bad about going into this right away because she has shared her heart with me. She has shared her struggles with me, and I'm going to match that. So then she said, thank you. I've always struggled with food. She kind of goes on, you know, it's such a crazy cycle. I know I set myself up for failure. And she really just talks more about her goals, and she says, I want to do something. I'm just scared of wasting my money on something again. So that's when I do a voice memo. You know what, this is kind of before I started getting on the phone more with people. Now I would have gotten on the phone with her. But right now I do a voice memo, which is still great. And again, everyone in my free groups is pretty much cold market. They're all from my like page. So there's like 400 people in there, and they're all from my like page. And so, so it's really about getting to know them. So I just basically in this voice memo, I talk about how I totally get it. I absolutely get it. And that I know what it's like to gain pregnancy weight and to have a hard time losing it. And how much I would absolutely love to help her, how our challenge groups offer that accountability I was talking about before. And she comes back, you're right, accountability absolutely helps. I'm interested. How does it work? Then that gives me permission to go more into price and that kind of stuff, because I never like to lead with that. It's salesy and weird. And then she goes on to asking a few more questions, and basically I answer those. And then we do eventually a discovery call where I talk with her about her goals and everything. And she's on her second round now, doing amazing. And this is because I believe is because of the group that's keeping her accountable, and me checking in with her one-on-one, and the trust that was built from the start. I'm going to come back to the vital process real quick. Oopsies. But I also wanted to share this one with you. This is another way to really show you're building trust. This is one of my coaches now. She's okay with me sharing this. But I go to people's pages before I message them. I've been talking to her for months. This was about the health bet. But I had been building a relationship with her for like over a year, and really started to talk with her, and you know, just reconnecting every month. Hey, I saw Aiden is her son. Surgery went well. I'm so glad. He is the sweetest. Like, I don't really know her. I just know her from social media. And so, but I connect with her on a level that shows that I care. Like, we know each other. We do, because I follow her. And then I go into this. And so it's just really, it's just a really great way to show that, you know, it can take over a year, but when you build that trust, it can take a while. And then all of a sudden, she's starting to ask more questions even about it, and then ends up joining. This is also just a reminder, guys. This is just a friend, a coach friend, and basically she just said, you know, I finally got to listen to your call, like, or your video that I sent to their team, and she's just talking to me about how she's agnostic and how I really respect how you speak about your faith and that kind of thing. And, you know, I wanted to share that with you guys because I think it's so important to remember that sometimes what we're doing is, for me, I have to keep that mindset of this is a ministry, and it's so much bigger than selling a challenge pack. And although that is so important, you know, especially for knowing that this is what feeds my family, but at the end of the day, like, there's something so much bigger that's going on. And I know that some of you guys share the same faith that I do. And it's so good to keep that on the forefront of your mind. The best business decision I ever made was to pray over it. And I will always say that. And I love those little reminders that God just puts in my inbox every now and then about faith that shows that, that the seeds are being planted not only for health and fitness, which is very important, but the seeds are being planted from my faith standpoint as well. So I wanted to share with you something I'm becoming extremely passionate about. This was, you know, pretty much, I know it's been on the forefront of corporate, and it was really taught to us at leadership, the vital process, you know, basically getting clients started, get them results, transition to coach, develop and mentor coaches. Now, I don't care how you sign people up. If you sign them up as a customer or as a discount coach, I've actually talked with corporate about that because I sign up a lot of discount coaches. I don't care how you sign them up, but if they are a discount coach, they are pretty much a preferred customer. You do not, I think the biggest thing that that corporate is seeing not working well is when people sign up discount coaches and then just expect them to coach. That's crazy. Everybody needs, no matter how they sign up, whether it's for a discount or whether it's just as a regular customer, they need to have the same process and this vital process of getting them started, helping them get results, and then transitioning to a business coach and developing and mentoring your coaches. So I wanted to kind of go through a couple examples of how I do that. First off, here's an example from one of my free groups. I use my free groups and I use my regular challenge groups to do this process. Guys, I am looking for challengers that have the gift of encouragement. They have the gift of encouragement. This is one of my coaches, Bethany, who's cool with me sharing this. She basically talks about, she's excited, and if you've seen one of my free group videos before, you may have seen this example, but basically she talks about how excited she is, and she just is posting in the group about how she wants to help other women, pray for them, all that kind of stuff. And that is something that for me is like, whoa, green light, this girl would be an amazing coach. So I reach out to her, and just to kind of show you guys a little bit better, but I basically reach out to her and I just let her know that she is exactly the kind of person I look for somebody to be on my team. I would love to help her coach, as you know, with this 21-day group as soon as it's over, that kind of thing. You know, we have a strong Christian team. That's very true, and she seems like she'd be a great leader. The one thing I did not do here that I regret is I did not end with a question. But she does come back and she's like, yeah, that'd be great. I just need to submit myself to a leader. They said, I'm so pumped for you. Would you be willing to help me with this group a little bit? Then after the 21 days is over, I can officially sign you up and we can get started working together going forward. And that's basically, like, I'm basically giving her a taste of what coaching is as well. What are your thoughts? She said it'd be an honor. So excited. So then what I do is I actually send her a template for the group, and I give her certain days that she's going to post, and I let her make it her own. She can add her own pictures. She can change it around a little bit, but I do want to take out any stress of her thinking she has to come up with some information just brand new. I think that could be really stressful. And what ends up happening is I introduce her as a 21-day challenge coach to the group. I'm so excited. I work with her. I mentor her pretty much as an apprentice before she's even a coach. I mentor her. I work with her. And by the end of the challenge, she's signing up for a challenge pack to be a business coach, and she's already, you know, been a coach all the way through. And it's a really, really positive way to help her get results, mentor her at the same time, get her through that process, and really be there and help recruit in that way too. Start them as challengers, I think, is so awesome. And that is really how so many of my coaches started, like I would say 90% of my diamond coaches started out as challengers, and then I formed them in challenge groups. Not necessarily like this, but I formed them through the groups by doing challenger spotlights on them and working with them and helping them and really getting them on board to be a part of it. And I think that that is so important for us to show how much we care. And then once they're a coach, it's so important to create a culture of belief, create a realistic system for follow-up, and make each person feel they are valued. Okay, so when it comes to the belief, you know, it's about mentoring those coaches, showing her, I believe in you. From the second I start messaging, it's like, girl, like you would be so good at this. You're instilling that belief in them. You're helping them with that belief by even helping them help you coach the challenge group, right? And then you create a realistic system for your coaches. You guys have heard me talk about it. If you haven't, there's some other DFG calls you can see about investing and inviting that I've done, where I talk about my 5-3-2 system, you know, creating 5 new contacts a day and conversations a day, nothing about Beachbody, 3 invites a day, and, you know, 2 a challenge group, and then 2 invites to be a business coach on your team, and that comes through my challenge group. So giving your coaches a system, and honestly, that's not mine. I think Lindsay, I got that from Lindsay's Stays training a long time ago. So so this is just a really great way for you to be able to create something for your team, to give them some structure, and then to shout them out, to make them feel valued. It doesn't matter if it's something like one, you know, the first person they sign up, guys, that is a win. And so we need to celebrate every small success along with every rank advancement, leadership ladder advancement. All of that is so huge, but it's so important to celebrate the small successes. You know, SC gifts for your new people that hit Success Club and your VIPs, the people that always hit it. Doing those shout outs we talked about and being present on their social media, you know, looking at their pages. I go to all my new coach pages. I look at them. I make sure I like and I comment on stuff and I celebrate them and I lift them up, and they know that I care, because building trust is not only about building trust with challengers, it's about coaching right as a coach with your coaches and showing them that you are investing. I think it's so important for us as coaches to remember that if you enjoy the process, then you will enjoy what the process produces. Katie Erstad just spoke at the Minnesota Super Saturday, and she said, you do not have a right to earn an income if you are not making an impact. And when you are making an impact, guys, there is joy that comes through that. I never look at building trust with people or inviting, I never look at it as something I have to do. I mean, I don't always wake up and go, yay, I get to invite people, right? But I have to make that my mindset. This is something I get to do. This is an opportunity. This is not something I have to do that I dread, that I drag my feet, because, guys, I've been there and it is not fun. I have been on this side of the caution zone, and it takes the joy out of it. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. You know, when I did that 15-star push, I feel I was called to it. I feel proud of it, but it was really, really hard. And there was moments where I started to get into the caution zone after I hit 15 star because I was so tired. I'm going to tell you a story. You know, the week that the Fearless Empire was supposed to hit 15 star, it was like all lining up. It was supposed to happen. I ended up getting the worst stomach flu I've ever had. And I had a coach that was needing to add a couple people the day before message me and just say, hey, girl, like, this is not going to happen. Like, this and this is going on with my life. It's not going to happen. And I remember just being devastated, like devastated. I was disappointed. I don't know if I was defeated, but I was disappointed. And I remember just waking up the next day. It was the day that I should have gone 15 star to be recognized at Summit. And I remember being so disappointed, but I got into the Word, got into my devotional, I prayed over it, and asked God to be bigger than me because I was pretty weak. And His grace is sufficient for us. His power is made perfect in our weakness. And He just totally was able to take it from there into, you know, I got to right into my groups, you know, guys, we're going to be a 15-star team this week. We got this. It didn't matter that I had missed the date of the goal. Like we were all in, and we were going to do this. And then I realized on a Monday that week, oh, this is the week we're really going to do it. This time we're really going to do it, right? I realized that Monday that I had the most red inactives I have ever had in my downline. Now, when I went 15-star diamond, I ended up having 16 diamonds in my first CBC and 31 coaches. So 16 of my coaches out of the 31 coaches were diamonds. And so I needed to have 30 people be active in order to qualify for 15. And I realized that through my second CBC and in my first CBC, I needed to add 12 coaches in order to make that happen. And I remember sitting in my car and just praying about it and being like, you know what, God, I just don't know if I can do that. I have 2 days. And I was so focused on helping my other coaches that I didn't realize that I was in jeopardy of not being able to do this. And I just prayed about it. I said, God, if you want this to happen, I'm just going to give this to you because you're in control. And I got a call literally, sorry guys, I've been sick, so bear with me, but I got a call literally like 2 minutes after I said amen. And it was my corporate mentor, Arnaud. And he, you know, we meet every other week online, you know, we talk and stuff, but we hadn't met for a while, and he never calls. And I don't even think he knew that this was the week I was really pushing for this. And he called me and he said, Pesola, I don't know what's gotten into me, but I just had this overwhelming feeling that I needed to call you. And I needed to tell you that whatever you're going for right now, you can do this. I don't know if it's the man upstairs telling me to tell you this or what, but I'm supposed to tell you that you can do this. And I said, Arnaud, I have to add 12 coaches in 2 days. And he said, do it. You've done your job. You've been forming these people. You can do this. You have done the work. Pray over it and believe. And we share that same belief in God. And so I just said, okay, I'm going to do it. And it sounds easy. It wasn't. It was really freaking hard. But in 2 days, I added 12 people, and we became 15-star qualifying. And it was the hardest thing I've done. And then I had, you know, then through those 6 weeks, I found out at week 6 when I hit 15-star that I was 6 weeks pregnant. So I had been pregnant the whole time, and I didn't know. And then right after I hit 15, not only did, it was amazing because corporate made an exception and they celebrated us at Summit. I got to stand up to my #1 mentor, Lindsay Stay. I got to stand up by her. I remember bawling, probably because of hormones, but also just the magic in that of going through some really hard times and yet knowing that God had a plan and that he was sovereign and that this came to, it came to be. And it was such a magical moment for me. And yet after that, the sickness really started to set in that first trimester, you know how that is. And I just started to kind of get into this caution zone. And it got really hard. And it was the first time in a long time, I'll be honest, that I was not stressed about rank. I wasn't stressed about that, but I also kind of stopped. I stopped looking at my downline, which you shouldn't do. But I really stopped focusing on what I really loved about this business in the first place. I stopped focusing on the people that matter the most, and that's my coaches and my challengers. And I stopped building that trust with them. Instead, I started to make it about me and how I felt and how I needed some time versus the people that I was working with that trusted me, that I was building trust with to help, and the lives that I know could be changed, when I was really thinking about me instead of we. And so I just really want to encourage you guys to not get in this zone, but to stay in the growth. It is so important for your building of trust, for your business, for everything that you do with the joy part of this. You know, stay in this zone. And I know that this is a season where I'm going to work 10 times harder to produce the same results that I'm probably going to in February or March. But it is worth it because, guys, it is a season. It is a season where you're gonna have to give more in order to produce those results, but it will be worth it. Those people are worth it. And if you can remember that every day, you can celebrate every small success and celebrate the big successes and continue to move up that growth chart. Lastly, as I close here, I wanted to share this with you guys. I think as a coach, it's so important to set your team up for success. And so with this Core to Force launch, I'm so proud of my leaders. You know, Olivia, Jess Lockhorse, Olivia Celine, Jess Lockhorse, Courtney Huber, Diana is Olivia's coach. That's a leader with TFE, and Talata, and they're just killing it. We did a sneak peek last night. It was so great, but I think it's so important that we provide some of this stuff for our coaches. I don't know if I sometimes I think that they can read my mind. They can't. I know it sounds crazy, but they can't, right? And so it's so important for us to give them a roadmap of how to do this season, especially right now, really, really well, because you're going to be working harder. Don't do it blindly. Use a guide. So I will provide all these slides for Lindsay as well, and she can use them if she wants to help you guys. Some of them are a little TFE related, but if you have any questions, I can help you with that. But it's really just helping them see the map of, you know, how to get to our actual goals by, or I guess our business goals, by helping people along the way and planting these seeds and breadcrumbing throughout. So that's really what I have for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. If it let me. There we go. Okay, so that's what I have for you guys. I hope that it was helpful for you. I hope that it really spoke to you today. And if you have any questions, let me know. I will be more than willing to always answer questions. Especially, I just love you guys. This is the home team. We're in this together. I'm so thankful for Lindsay and Tony and all that they've done to invest in me and my heart, and to share just pretty big moments with me and to lift me up. It's been really powerful. So yeah, so lean on your uplines in that way too, and look up to the people that you can, that really stand out to you, that are doing things right. And like I said, if you have any questions, let me know, but I'll make sure to get my slides to Lynn's. And you guys are loved and adored. And if you need anything at all, let us know. All right, thanks so much, you guys. Have a good day.